Yanda Wanzo Benson Gary Bada Shazun, the Varisha Banji, then came by Jivundu, Kalo Jivana Nambe Alhada Melangeta, Sanjay Jumden and Bejo, Shaja Chazelo Jodo Jazo Jevo Dema, Jumden and the Shisha, Rajamba Yanda Banzo Benson Gary Bada Shazun, the Varisha Banji, then came by Jivundu Kalo. Lana Meba Lada Melangeta, Sanjay Jumden. 被叫我下家头发拉啥子，我觉得叫做是，人把人点点的人生观这种把样的，无所谓三界人把当下说等把对不对些，今天前把结婚这个看到就把拉他们，他没能接等把三界人点，被叫我下家头发拉啥子，我觉得叫做是，看这概念做我觉得他们这样三界天嘛。我那几天电脑就是说，这些开发就那啥子，那么到公安局的手上话，一些叫做谁讲的？查办几天送到那边往公布去年叫那啥子，前两天把前面到那些省道的话叫那啥子，你这叫那是把什么些年没天天叫那啥子，公布都这些天把统计见面的把说那么有点叫做。你先想那啥子嘛，他们的山体，因为俺从来这些阶段的那么少有，先就叫那啥子嘛，真的这个那把他那让的呢，先给他们演的，演对那样啥子嘛，对外这样没事，有啊不说说话这样，让给生的样子，天天上街单把演，干嘛让人嘛没，你就嘛是吧，学不了当，没弄到当真的，你些像他们的这个大送他们的也他们就是。Kobantan ne gengen radyo den gadan nadan çevrelabcı. Sebe solen jovan cevare şo.
To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When a supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in 3 worlds, winner of the best, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior, having great compassion, the Teacher, having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the low realms, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community attending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from the ocean of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Jono Zonje Jono Chaju Bado Dane Jansu. Dagin Jesoje Sonam Je Rola Benje Sanje Dugu. Sanje Jono Soje Jono Chaju Bado Dane Jansu. Dagin Jesoje Sonam Je Rola Benje Sanje Dugu. Sanje Jono Soje Jono Chaju Bado Dane Jansu. Dagin Jesoje Sonam Je Rola Benje Sanje Dugu. Sanje Jono Soje Jono Chaju Bado Dane Jansu. Dagin Jesoje Sonam Je Rola Benje Sanje Dugu.
I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Tangye Gemba La Cha Zeno Deda Sanje Jumden Dehan Dena Dishin Shepan Da Jumben Yanda Manzo Be Sanje Riba Shazun Demba Devar Shepan Jiden Gemba Jiwan Debe Kano Jiwan Nana Meba Adam Bena Jeda Sanje Jumden Deha Zuwan Dishin Shepan Dena Sonan Da Be Jodu Bangi Vezawan Nama Chumese Subera Do Gemba Sonam Jedera Nam Jeshia Beje Sabanam Jedebe Tsena Gemba Da Jebe Juyo Rimba Tona Midemba Meba Debe Meba Nana Ngobra Gaba Sherev Sijembe Tona Sinjadam Jedam Bacha Jusam Badam Jawa, Pabia Kazan, Japan, and the Jebado Meva Baba Sanja Majava Sonamata Bayani, Kujata, Chomich, Kutsoma Meba, the Vata. Sodaganya Magova Sumavata, Damateva, Dungalana Batu, Pumata, Kanada, Jason. Divana Mashin, Java, Donata, Lanabra, Sibata, Chuva, Giva, Debada Majumba, Tata Jumba, Sanjay Jumda, Yishema, Deava, Yangan, Bidem. Yadavani Jadala, never Sinjatam Jana Siva, Sala Shuba, the Dana Sanjay Jumda, Kushivaya, the Yandavana Mazua, Tabishana, Tomakeva, Pado Java, Tomakeva, as a person to some Yozo Taba, Yozo Chawa, Yahata, Yondo, Yahadavadova, never, Tusheva, Mevanya, Detona, Kevana, Sozora, Rivach. Chimney de Janaba Zubachu, the one that ever do when Yavacho wants to be charged on Rovacho. Yuma Mizu, the Tembo Yuba Jubachabo. Tewachimig, the Lever Juba, River Juba, Tumba Juba, Tumba Juba, Timaja, Charge of Charge of Juba, Charge of Temaja, Juba, Charge of Juba, Kundowajimen, the Juba Chimbo. Kazeganyan Zowa Jadam Zazajendana, Commandant Jident and the churches. Tezekiaba Jona Chalanam, the Kuma Chot, Susan, Yishija, Sajan number Tavan Jedesum, the Lame Bongomba Chuni, Jona Chate. Rejecting the objections that karmic act will give forth infinite fruitional effects. So while non-existing objects are equal in their unreality, those with eye disease perceives the floating hairs, not the form of just a non-existing things. Know likewise that rapid act do not bear fruit again. This is a little bit, Chitra Yuni, Mesonja, Ravichin, Jetashi, number Tongi, Shena. Tongi is a motion number Mayeta. there's a little bit different translations. Chidar yuni min sung jang rabi jingi tashin number tongi muishin number mayita. I think there so this line is pointing out many or different, sometimes with different meanings. So here the main point is no, likewise the ripen act, right? Act do not bear fruit again. So that's the main point. And then to the criteria for that is while non-existing objects are equal in their unrealities, which means there are many non-existings. So, like rabbit home, floating hairs, the bald head with floating hairs, rabbit homes, sky flowers, there's many non-existings. So, with one disease, but you can only see the floating hair, not the other non-existence, right? So when you have some kind of the cataract or some kind of the possible of cataract, so then you can see the floating hair, right? So that floating hair is non-existing, but not all non-existing you see, because of this particular disease allows you to see this floating hair, not the other non-existence. So now, in one way, when you read that, what is the point you're trying to be established? What you're trying to constitute the main point is if I say any karma, once their effect is ripened, right, complete their effect. So there is no effect again from that karma. So it kind of like, say, it still, it's not really, straight. It's not really straight. So one karma that gives rise to one effect. So that effect is ripened and complete. Therefore, there is no another effect from that karma. And then for that, to establish that, to prove that, and this is non-existing. There are many non-existing, but one particular disease will allow you to, one particular non-existing to appear. So, or you maybe the are you saying that the out of karma, whatever that you whatever the condition you are in as a consequence of that particular karma, that the consequences that you are facing, consequences that you are experiencing, is it non-existing? Are you saying that non-existing? Like hell realm, human realm, the God realm, right? So all of this are you trying to say these are non-existing? One particular disease, one particular karma to propel you in the form of human realm, you see only human realm, not the God realm. So although God realm and the human realm are non-existing. So what is the main point here? So I think the point is trying to say that different realms, all the consequences of the karmic act
is not a substantial. It is not really physically you can differentiate them. This is the human realm. This is the God realm. The God realm is from the human realm. There's 100,000 miles, and hell realm is 200,000 miles, or underneath the ground. So here's that kind of the substantial, the substantial existing of that realm is non-existence, non-existence. But one particular karma can allow you to see one realm, human realm of the God realms, or the virtuous act, outer virtuous act that gives you the appearance of the pleasant and the pleasant object, favorable object. So on one, for example, in this particular room, one virtuous karma can allow you to see very pleasant and very peaceful. One particular non-virtuous act, karma, can give you the image of the condition that allow you to see very unhappy, very unpleasant, very uncomfortable. So both are result of the virtuous karma and the non-virtuous karma, but both are not substantially exist. I think there's the in the Shantideva's Shantideva's text, Shantideva says, if in the hell realm there is the burning fire in the hell realms, who make that fire? Right. So what kind of fuel? It is out, wood fire, or coil, or the fuel. What is that? Who made it? Who started that fire? So therefore, it's the fire in the hell realm is a condition by the mind, right? Mind. So which means the hell realm, there is no really physically, substantially existing of any hell realm or the human realm or the God realms. So, result of the karmic act is not substantial, like, floating hairs, rabbit, donkey horn are non-existing, but this particular eye disease gives you the picture, the appearance of the floating hair, not the donkey horn, not the sky flowers.
So it sounds like it's saying that the karma itself is not substantial, but it is made substantial by the mind, or not made substantial by the mind, but
it is not substantial because it is the mind projections,
right.
Mental projections. Mm-hmm.
So that's when you try and point to it as it will just keep going infinitely. That's because of the mind being a projection.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons is if this particular eye disease gives you the, appearance of the floating hair, right? So when this eye disease cured, and then you do not have that floating hair, but you can have another appearance, the donkey horn or the rabbit horns or the sky flowers or many things, or independent eye or something. So that is again by one particular cause. Each cause gives you the one particular picture. So that picture is there because of that cause. When the cause of that picture is done or complete or exhaust, and then picture will be disappear, right? So does that, Chandrakirti is also kind of accepting?
I have some disagreements.
Another good morning.
Another good morning. This has to do with the exhaustion of a seed. And I know what we've been saying. We are talking about a single seed and the exhaustion of that seed, and a stalk arises, or we could say there's a continuum that has a certain momentum. And we're also using, I note, the term conditioned. And I remember when I read The Essence of Refined Gold by Dalai Lama, when he talks about karma in that teaching, he talks about it, one seed can create many causes, as I recall, and it will create, from it will arise a plant that has many seeds. In other words, that plant has seed pods, for example, like a tree. So it's not just like a 1-to-1 ratio. That's one thing he said, that one seed will result in a plant that now has many seeds.
Yeah.
That's one point. And the other point is, once you do an act, like you do a killing, like the act of killing, that you're creating a kind of habit or conditioning that will that will result, particularly if it's repeated, in the tendency, the proclivity to continue doing such acts in the future. So it doesn't just stop with one act of killing. It's so therefore I think it's a bit misleading to say that the seed exhausts and it results in an effect and it ripens and that's it. I think that's wrong. Okay, that's what I had to say. You can comment on
Wow. So one seed can give one sprout. And once the sprout, one particular sprout is, formed, and that seed has ceased to exist. And now this sprout will, give rise maybe 10 seed. So each seed give rise their sprout, and the ones there give rise this sprout. When the sprout has arisen, that particular seed has ceased to exist. This is what they meant. It's not talking about general kind of seed has exhaust. One seed manifests that create, from one seed to one sprout has manifest, the seed has ceased. That leads another seed, and then another sprout. And one sprout has manifest, that particular seed has given rise to that has ceased to exist. So, because everything is, so there is no seed which can give rise, one particular seed can give rise 100 times or 2 times sprout. Right? One seed gives one sprout. So that's I think here what is meant. So now the question is, this is very Chandrakirti sounds like he is not really accepting the planet that we see, right? The planet that we see human Ram means we thought that human Ram is something connect to the land, something connect to the house, something connect to the things that your possessions. So now he's trying to point out the human realm is, the consequences, as a consequence of that particular karma, allow you that comfort or comfort, or I don't know, that particular karma, it allow you to experience some kind of humanly activities. That is particular result of that karma, that particular karma that design you as a human being. And then this karma has exhaust is complete their effect. Then human realm that is designed and created or projected is complete. Then another karma comes that creates the whole conditions, and then you will experience the God, God realms, God beings activities, God beings conditions, and then that again exhaust, finished, and then another karma creates another pictures, another realms. So it sounds like there is your sentient being is not really going to one realm to the another realms. So one realms that is created, projected by one karma has done, and another karma comes and creates. Like like a movie theater, the screen is there, and you bring one rail, right? Rail, right? So then you show the one picture, and then the rail is complete, and you bring another rail, and it projects that. So which means whatever the realm that you are seeing, you are in, is not a substantial, you're saying. So it's not substantial, and then at the same time, so all the virtues, the result, or non-virtues, the result, are both equally not substantial, but they don't really get mixed. There is a non-virtuous result from virtuous karma, virtuous, wholesome activities, and there is no the positive result from non-virtuous actions, non-virtuous act. But the both are not substantial. Like, sky flower is non-existing, donkey horns non-exist, and bald man having floating hair is non-exist. But one particular condition can allow you to see that particular non-existence. With jaundice, they give you the picture of every white thing as a yellow. Yeah, everything's yellow. With strong, very, strong anger gives you the picture of the red. So similarly here, each action, each karma is kind of allows you to see certain kind of, environment. So what we call it the ram. So those rams are non-existing, which means that Chandrakirti is saying there is no God ram, human ram, hell ram, animal rams. So it's not a substantially exist. But still question raised, right? But the hell ram you don't see, the God ram you don't see, but we see animals and we are different. So why there is no animal ram, it's a substantial, why there is, human rams which is different from the animal rams. So this is the question that comes. So the main point is likewise the rapid act do not bear fruit again. So which means each action gives, the one particular, the result of the effect. And when the effects are complete, now there is no another effect that coming from the very karma that is already giving the result. I'm not sure I said it clearly or not. Because when you read this, while non-existing objects are equal in their unrealities, so that the object of the karmas are equally not substantial, like those with eye disease perceive the floating hairs. Now, this particular course is giving you this particular pictures. So, not the form of just any non-existing things. This disease is only give you this kind of pictures, right? This karma will give you this only this result, this appearance. So when you come to the karma, and this is not really easy. Now, caution here is you assert that the fruitional effect emerge from karmic act, which have no intrinsic exhaustions. No intrinsic exhaustions, because they are not born by means of intrinsic nature. That very karma, like for example, like that very particular eye disease is not intrinsic. It is conditioned by many factors, many corporate conditions together, and then produce this kind of eye disease. And then eye disease is also particularly one kind of effect, right? So that the cause is not intrinsically exist, therefore the results also not intrinsically exist. When that cause, or exhaustion of that cause is also not intrinsic. Because they are not born by means of intrinsic natures. If so, then the fruitional effect should similarly emerge from those karmic acts for which fruitional effect have already ripened. There will therefore be the fault of endless process. If one cause, after having giving rise to that effect, if give another one, and then that cause must give rise the effect endlessly. One particular barley seed can, we can understand one particular barley seed can give rise to one sprout. After having given rise to that, barley sprout, if that very seed is giving another sprout, then that seed should give rise endless. Right? I think that also because of that very seed is not intrinsically exist. So here the intrinsic means now it has to be, if something is intrinsic, it has to be independent. So if the cause is not independent, effect is not independent. The cause is limited, the effect is limited. Effects limited, cause is limited. But there is still, limited does not mean, it will discontinue. Right? But like one barley seed can give rise to one sprout, that sprout can give rise and hundreds barley seeds. That each 100 barley seed is giving rise their own the barley sprout. So after giving rise to that, it will cease to exist. So that's the question. So this will therefore be the fault of endless process. Reply, So while non-existing objects are equal in their unreality, those with eye disease, for example, perceive their eyes non-existing form, such as floating hair, and do not see the form of just any non-existing things, any other non-existing things, such as the horn of the donkey or the son of the bear woman. Know likewise that while they are equal in having no existing through the intrinsic natures, so that the main point is not intrinsic, right? The fruition take place from the karmic act that have not yet ripened, and that already ripened act do not bear fruit again. Right? I think that's the main point. So then, if you have instilled in your mind questions, if one effect can give, one cause can give rise to one particular, limited the effect. So why sentient beings cycle in samsara? So then sentient beings, there is continuing in their act, virtues, non-virtues, 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 continuous. So the effect is continuing. To indicate that this analogy is established not only that effects certainly emerge from the karmic act, but also that virtues and non-virtuous act are individually correlated, right? The desirable and undesirable effect. The root text reads, I think we can see pretty much like when someone says, the gorgeous day, right? So some people sees that there one particular day that you are in today is very happy, very pleasant, very comfortable, and then another person can see he is also in that day very uncomfortable, very disturbing. But both can, fit in one day. One find the day is not good. One find day is good. So if they are substantial, if the bad day and good day are substantial, so then particular this and the person who is experiencing the bad day, he can take up your good day and he will give you your bad day. Right. So sometimes, this is what say. I think the good day is good. Therefore, we just sometimes culturally input in the picture to express every day, even the day is not good. So what a gorgeous day! Always they say. So they maybe it's one day there will be actual gorgeous day. As such unwholesome effect comes from the dark acts, while the wholesome effects are seen to come from virtuous act, and the wise, now the wise, for whom there is no virtues, non-virtues, become free from both virtues and action, non-virtuous actions. Thus, speculation on the karma and effect has been discouraged. I think discouraged, I don't know what this really gives you the meaning. So in Tibetan, when you read it's Tichni, Nami Mige Nabule, Nami Geni Gele Yin Tongshi, Gemi Geme Lojan Targutes, Lenden Nam Semba Gabrates, Lenden Nam Semba Gabrates, Lenden Nam means, there is the person who is, seeking the, pleasant effect from wholesome deeds. One who is facing unpleasant effect due to unwholesome acts. Then the third person, the wise, who is who has, successfully being free from both wholesome and unwholesome actions. So that is a free from psychic existence. So if you still think that, the liberated being have no wholesome deed, so so then there's another question. So yes, he is not in the wholesome wholesome day as a result of the virtuous act, virtuous karma, right? And he's also not in unwholesome day, right, as a result of non-virtuous actions. Because the wholesome and unwholesome, unwholesome, wholesome and unwholesome effect or what is it? Wholesome effect, yeah. Wholesome and unwholesome effect is derived from the attachment. Both are from attachment.
When it says thus speculation on karma and effect, does that sort of mean you calculate that if I do this, I'll have a good result?
So that's why I feel really, when I read in Tibet, Lenden Namla Sembang Gabrazets. Lenden Namla Sembang Gabrazets. Here in Tibetan words, there's two karma, two actions, sembele, sambele. Mental activity, mental karma, or what do you call it? Physical karma, like verbal and the physical body. So that in original text, what the word they use, the perceptible and unperceptible karma. So anyway, the Sembang governments just having thought of needing this virtuous act, non-virtuous acts. Wise try not to have a thought of this virtuous actions is needed for you. This non-virtuous actions is needed for you. So wise do not think of that because they find another way to free the mind from the attachment, not to create any positive and negative karma. Right? So because the karma is, usually karma is something like, once you create, that carries you, involuntarily, even that good result or bad result. You have no control of it. So usually you are powered by your own actions. So the wise do not want to create any karma that can overpower on you, right? Because this positive karma and negative karma is overpowering on the person, right? And why? Because this is driven by the attachment. attachment creates the positive karma and negative karmas. So out of attachment, you can recite mantras, you can do the meditation. Out of attachment, you can do prayers, So the speculation, I think, even thought of karma and karma and effect has been discouraged. No desire to create positive karma and negative karma. There's no interest in committing positive karma and negative karma. So I think this already kind of this already tell you that here the karma means actions. All the actions are karma, and it's not necessary. Buddha has the actions: act of giving teaching, act of compassion, act of walking, act of doing things, saying things, thinking about. So it's not a karma. So karma means layer means karma. So karma means you out of attachment, out of desire, you are trying to do something for your own good and committing positive karma. So to out of uncontrollable emotional like anger and attachment and doing negative actions. These are called karma. The action and the karma is two different things, right? Actions. Now it says there's a very subtle karma. The very subtle karma is still, it is, subtle karma means now, in Prajnaparamita Sutra says, the noble beings do not, control by any karma. Noble beings, the person who has already directly perceived emptiness, now he is no longer under the control of karma. Right? But still, any karma, the leftover, that you have the karma to again take rebirth in human being and God being. So there is some noble beings still, because of their karma, they born again and again, 2 times, 3 times, but they do not create any new karma out of attachment. So now here saying Bodhisattvas, noble beings, that they intentionally try to create the karma, to be born in one particular one particular realm or one particular community, one particular place. So they used attachment. So they don't have the strong attachment, but they try to use the attachment, very subtle attachment. And with that, just before they're dying, they, with that attachment and the dedications. So they, they pick the place to born. So that's called very subtle karma. It is still not considered under the control of the karma because it's deliberately. Okay. So maybe this person has committed, I'm going to lead these sentient beings, to the enlightenment or the liberation until the whole peoples in that area, their environment, that area, and reach the liberations. I will continue born in there. So that kind of commitments they use just before the dying, using the attachment. And then attachment mixed with compassion, and then dedications, and they're born. So whenever they're born, that the birth of that Bodhisattva noble beings is not considered as under the control of the karma. They're deliberately these. So, and the rest of ordinary sentient beings, with no control, and they, they're born again and again. So you see, the karma and actions are different. So thus the speculation on the karma and effect has been discouraged. So the meaning of that is the speculations thought of needing this positive and negative karma is, they abandoned. They do not have this desire. So there is no reason those whose with eye disease sees the floating hair and not donkey horn, as such, wholesome fruitional effect do not emerge from non-virtuous karma. And undesirable fruitional, right? Unwholesome, fruitional effect do not emerge from virtuous karma. One can see that it is from dark karmic act, that unwholesome or undesirable fruitional effect comes. And it is from the virtuous act that wholesome and desirable fruitional effect comes. As for the wise, for whom there is no virtues and non-virtuous karma, that is, those who realize the karma and its effects cannot be objectified in terms of intrinsic existence. They become free from the second existence. Therefore, thinking that ordinary people, those who strive to determine through the, evidential reasoning, why this or that specific feature of the effect emerged from such and such specific karma, may come to denigrate karma and effects, thus destroying the conventional truths. So sometimes there's a confusions, So truth, when they try to examine on the karma, and that is, it's very profound and very complicated to understand conventional truth. Conquer, the Buddha, stated that fruitional effect of the karma remain unconceivable. So when you more and more you examine, and more confusing, So thus the speculations or the analysis of the karma and effect has been discouraged by the Buddha. I think just by reading that line in English, people probably do. It's not easy to understand, right? Discouragement, like how he discouraged. The fearing the danger of losing convictions, rather convictions in the law of karma, the danger of losing convictions in the law of karma, these treatises strive to engender conviction in karma through numerous avenues, such as those present above. This point need to be appreciated. We should make our view of emptiness complementary factors that strengthen these convictions. in the law of karma, and that on that basis, we should strive to ensure that this one time we do not return empty-handed from our visit to the island of the precious gem. I think it looks like we do not return empty-handed from our visit. So then, have we visited the island of precious gem? Like a human precious life. So we got it here. So we have this human precious life. Now try to understand the law of cause and effect. Try to understand how samsara is, understand the cosmic conditions of the samsara, and try to stop this cycle of rebirth.
So, the conqueror stated that the frictional effects of karma remains inconceivable, even for the conqueror himself. It's inconceivable for us.
Something means inconceivable for sentient beings. Yeah, for the sentient beings. So that's why Buddha said, for the sentient beings, it's inconceivable. Inconceivable means you cannot really understand as it is. Right? So, but you can understand the reality, ultimate truth as it is. But the karma is not that easy. So and then they're rejecting the objection that we are contradicting with scripture that presented fundamental consciousness. So now the emptiness in the Prasangika school, when you accept that everything is absence or intrinsic existence, then you have already refuted the fundamental consciousness, the foundational consciousness. So now I say, rejecting the objections that we are contradicting with scriptures. In the scriptures explicitly stated there is the foundation consciousness, which means Buddha himself stated in his scripture, yes, there is foundational consciousness. Now the question is, did he say there is foundational consciousness, or he was thinking of something, then he expressed the foundation consciousness is possible. So when he was thinking, when he was saying there's a foundation consciousness, what is in his mind? Like sometimes you are in your mind, I think there is a story, in India, King Akbar, Have you heard of Akbar? And Akbar was very famous in India. There's a lot of story about King Akbar. So he resides in Delhi. So he has ministers. One of the ministers is a Hindu. It's a very wise, intelligent. So the Akbar, the first time he has a son, so he, every time he comes back, he lifts the son. This is the most beautiful in this world. I always say that. I never see like baby like this. And then the Birbal says, I want to show you another boy. It was so beautiful. And then he brings the Akbar to the village. There was a baby boy, black, very not clean. When the mother called her, you are the most beautiful in this world, she said. So, do you see? So his mother also finds her ugly baby is so beautiful, most beautiful. So what it meant is, because how much he cares, how much he loved that. So that gives you the picture of the most beautiful, right? So in this way, when the Buddha says there is a foundation consciousness, in his mind, what is in his mind? So is he talking about exactly like mind-only school assertion of the mind, the foundation consciousness, which is consciousness and separate from the sixth mental consciousness and has the activity but no particular object, no particular object to apprehend. Is like a comma which carries all the seeds, just remain beneath all sixth consciousness, So when Buddha says there is the foundation consciousness, so what is in mind? Is he in mind like exactly like mind on the school thinking about foundation consciousness? So at the Prasangika school, Chandrakirti and Nagarjuna are saying that. So when Buddha says there's a foundation consciousness, what he meant is there is the basis for everything to rise and disintegrate, which is the absence of intrinsic nature of the phenomena. So in his mind, this is what in his mind, that then he used that, the foundational consciousness. So the Prasangika school says, so what is in his mind, we accept. What you have interpreted from the word of the Buddha and asserting there is the eighth consciousness, separate from the mental consciousness. So that is, we are rejecting. So something in your mind, the way what you express, become a little bit different. So mother who holds the, ugly child, saying you are the most beautiful in the world. So what in her mind, this is most lovable, is part of her, is herself. So. So yeah, this has three parts. The actual meaning of the words that eliminate contradictions with scriptures. So Prasangika school says we are not contradicting with scriptures. We are not against the scriptures. The question of whether the foundation consciousness separate from the mental consciousness has been taught in the scriptures. So this is the debatable. Did really Buddha meant there's the foundation consciousness is separate from the sixth mental consciousness? Number three, the example of the scripture that were taught with specific intentions. So the actual meaning of the word that eliminates contradictions with the scriptures. The questions if one can posit a causal relations between karma and its effect without the foundational consciousness. So that's the main questions. Without the foundational consciousness, can you relate the cause, karma and effects related? So does that mean what has been stated in the descent into Lankas, that's one of the sutra, right? So on, which refer to the unraveling intent sutra, as well as the Mahayana Abhidhamma sutras, namely the foundational consciousness, characterized as the repository of potential of all entities, repositories, right? As a containing all seeds, and as the cause of all outer and inner entities, which emerge like waves from the oceans, should not be presented at all as something taught in the scriptures. So in the scriptures, looks like Buddha is pointing at this foundational consciousness is like, repository potential of all entities, containing all the seeds as the cause of outer and inner entities. So like all the consciousness, sixth consciousness, coming from that foundational consciousness, like waves. So this is the question. Then the reply, this is not the case. For the benefit of those who can be tempted through teaching the existing of the foundational consciousness, it was indeed taught to exist. Now the Nagarjuna's saying that, yes, this was explicitly mentioned in that particular sutra, and this is also for particular, peoples who can be tempted through that, the teaching of the existing foundational consciousness. Maybe it sounds like the term atmas is not really easy to eliminate. Atma, the souls. I think, for thousand years, people innately feel that, and there are many sages, great masters. They try to, reestablished that your innate thinking is true for many years, So then there's something that is really, almost impossible to dismantle that. So when first you, through reasoning, you just refute the independent I, then self-sufficient I, then still there is something, I think the residue is the foundation consciousness, or the Siddhantic school, the mental continuum, or sixth consciousness is the elucidation of I. So they don't really, they are kind of, so frightened to, if you destroy or if you refute no self at all, it's quite frightening. So you need something for the basis for the, existing of self. So this is part of that, foundational consciousness is one of the, grasping of self. So in this way, people can tempt. And the Buddha, yes, he explicitly mentioned the foundation of consciousness. It was indeed taught to exist. This response indicates how the existing of the foundation of consciousness was accepted for a specific purpose from the perspective of trainees. For the trainees, is yeah. Thus, according to the Mahaya, Madhyamikas, right? According to the Madhyamikas' own standpoint, when such statement is being shown to be a teaching with specific intent, it is done like this. The base of intentions, the basis of intention, what is in fact indeed is emptiness in sense of lack of intrinsic existence. And it is the referred to hereby term foundational consciousness, alaya. Alaya jhana. So I think jhana is like wisdom or yishin. The reason emptiness is being called the foundations of all alayas, all foundation of all. So the Prasanga Guru says emptiness is what is in Buddha's mind. Is because these natures pervade all entities. That furthermore, not only did the Buddha teach foundational consciousness for a specific purpose, he taught the substantial reality of the person as well. So not only that, Buddha also mentioned, there is, substantial existing of the self. So this is because the teaching that a person possesses the substantial reality, Buddha can sustain those individuals who can be tempted through such teaching. This refers to, for example, the statement, "O monk, the five aggregates are the burden, and which carries this burden is the person." So Buddha actually, express, how they imagine, how they conceive the self. Like in the ancient Hindu, they were saying there's the Atmas. Atmas is never die, never born, and he only changed the body. So Buddha used that image. Yes, there is, the I, there are aggregates like the burden, and then the five aggregates which carries by the person, that is I. So this is how they are imagining, they conceive that, the self. So burden the person. Here, in response to questions from those who conceive the person to be substantial reality, instead of teaching that this does not exist, the Buddha taught that that the person who is carrier of the burden does exist, although the word substantial is not explicit in the code. The reference is to a substantiality real persons. So Buddha did not actually, explicitly say the person is substantial, but he indicated, there's the substantial I. Again, for the benefit of some other trainees, the Buddha taught mere aggregates with no substantial real persons. And some, like Sutantaka school, Buddha followers, Buddha says, only the five aggregates are true. And other than that, the person is not truly exist. So in that kind of step by step, he was leading Again, for the benefit of the substantial person, such called the whether one call is mind or mental faculties or consciousness, it is this that is thoroughly imbued over the long period of time with faith, moral discipline, and so on. When it is advanced further, one will go to the higher realm in the next life. So the based on their misunderstanding, their kind of misunderstanding, but still there is there is a chances Buddha can help them to to what was that to improve their kind of moral disciplines, improve their concentrations, generosities, continuously strengthen their mind, and then they will come to understand, So thus, for the benefit of those who, because of the grasping at the true existence of the way to the higher realms and to the freedom from the freedom of enlightenment, wonder what degree of the reality they should accept, the Buddha taught that aggregates alone exist, without refuting object of their clinging to the true existence. So by implications, the Buddha is teaching here that the aggregates have true existence. Of all these were taught by the Buddha due to specific underlying intentions. For what kind of training then did the Buddha teach the foundational consciousness, one might ask? In response, the root text reads, such teaching were given for those who cannot understand the most profound truth. So people are not ready to understand the most subtle emptiness, and then this out of skillful means with a taught. Taught indicates in his teaching, yes, there is a substantial I, and then for some there's no substantial I, but the aggregates are truly exist. But there is no I substantial exists, but consciousness is truly exist. And then again, and Buddha, in the Vajrapāṇi Prajnaparamita Sutras and another sutras, and then Buddha says there is no intrinsic at all. Even the five aggregates are empty of intrinsic existence. So there's no form, no smell, no feeling, no tongue, feeling or perceptions, right? So this is like like a school teachers for the kindergarten alphabet, in the high school the grammars, and then in the subjects, right, more profound. To regard to the teachings such as foundational consciousness exists, the person exists as a substantial reality, and these aggregates alone exist in that they possess true existence. Such teaching were, as explained above, given for the sake of those trainees who for the time being cannot understand or realize the meaning of the most profound truth. Some trainees have been habituated to extreme view over long period of time, and remaining incapable of engaging the profound reality. For example, Precious Garland says, I do not exist, I will not exist. Mind do not exist. So they will not be. Thus the childish come to fright, terrified. I do not exist. In the precious gardens, dayu mani yu minjur, dagi yu mi yu minjurs. First is that there is no self or I. There is no self or I that is exist. Therefore, there is no mind that exists. So that kind of teachings frighten the childish being. So those who are childish being, for the time being, with the taught, yes, there are substantial I. There is no aggregates, no the substantial I. There is no substantial I. There is no I at all, but the mind is truly exist. So in this way, yeah. So when the ultimate nature is first taught, some may become terrified, regard the Buddha's teaching as akin to abyss, right? Abyss, akin to an abyss. In doing so, they will turn away from the teachings, will not enter it. The teaching will then serve no great purpose. On the other hand, by not teaching profound final truth right at the beginning, but teaching foundational consciousness, true existing of the aggregates, and so forth, teaching instead has a instead cleanness, right? Cleanses or teach instead cleanses training of their how's that? Heterodox standpoint. What is the heterodox?
Hetero means different, and dox might mean like ideology.
Oh yeah. They're heterodox standpoints. Like, yes, there is substantial I, and no, there's no substantial I, but aggregates true. No, there's a substantial I exists. Not the I exists at all, but the consciousness is truly exists. So this is the heterodox standpoint, and lead them toward the greater objective. In the futures, they will come to comprehend the meaning of the scriptures excellently and will relinquish their belief in the existing of foundational consciousness and like. Therefore, there can be only merit for the teaching such things, and for the Buddha to teach this is not fault. Understanding this to be proper sequence of the teachings. 400 stanzas says, in whatever the teaching one delight in, one should, partake in the first. He who might come to damage is no way or vessel of that teachings. So now, kind of their interest, their desire about knowledge is the very, most precious thing. So you shouldn't be destroying that desire. So for that desire, so whatever you can lead them, what's suitable, the viewpoint, even that extreme view. So still, continue with that extreme view. because I think there's a story in the Buddha's, there's a movie there, right? The Buddha's, one time he was going to the one village, they invite Buddha. And there's one household man asked, so we have many masters coming over to the village, and some master says, this is good for your well-being. Some master said, that is not good, and my view is better. Some masters, there's many views. And this household man says, Gautama, please tell us what is really suitable for us. And Buddha says, whatever they're delighted in, what makes you happy, go with that. If something that makes you happy, that gives you the satisfactions, that gives you the peace, then go with that view. It's not because of this master, not because of that master's, but because of what it suits you. So go with that and continuously, and you want more and more and more, and then you can improve in this way. So from the beginning, you have destroyed the desire, no interest. Then so in this, in no way the vessel for the teachings. And then you become the vessel for, not good vessel for all teachings.
Is the foundation, the concept of a foundation consciousness found in any other teachings?
I don't think they use the same term.
But similar meaning.
Similar meaning. I think ancient Hindu, there's some point of views of the, the basis of everything, the rise and disintegrate. So they, in the old time, there says the Vishnu, the Paramatma, the Bhagavans, the Vishnu, there, and sometimes you can see those pictures in the tea shop. The Vishnu just lying down, and all the trees are growing on them, human beings and on the animals, the hell beings, everything on the Vishnus, rise from the Vishnus, dissolve back to the Vishnus. So there's some kind of meaning in there, but they don't use the foundation consciousness, alaya. So I think because everybody, there's more and more people who deep thinking, they're trying to understand what is the source of things. So they come to conclude, as some says, oh, the Bhagavan is the one that everything rises and dissolves. So that in Buddha's mind, is emptiness, the absence of intrinsic, everything's relatively existing is the source of everything to grow and degenerate, disintegrate. And then why the minority school kind of, like this kind of term, the foundation consciousness, because they're still not free from that extreme view. So they want to know if within the 5 aggregates, one of them, there must be one within the 5 aggregates is the illustration of I. If there's no I at all, and then it's kind of, it's kind of annihilating or existing with I. So I think this is very, very good. Yeah, the ayat there says, in whatever teaching one delight in, one should partake in this first. So now you don't stuck with that. You just try to find more profound, more deeper meaning. He who might come to damage is, so he who might come to damage his desire in any knowledge, any practice, any moralities. Then, he's destroying himself. So he is no good for vessel for the teaching. So now those who need to be taught that there is the foundation of consciousness that is separate from the sixfold collection of the consciousness must also be taught to reject external reality. So that everything is rise from the mind basis of all and dissolve back to the mind basis of all. So which means the color, the sound, the smell, that whatever we experience with sensory perceptions are also rise from the mind basis of all and dissolve back to that. So therefore, they must reject the external things. So they say there's no element outside. Then the mind basis all is the that produces the iPhones. So we all have machine to produce the iPhone. So when if even there is no iPhone 16, you can just make it from mind basis all. So then probably you don't need kitchen. you just put your hand in my vessel. So I think that's kind of clinging, sense of clinging towards I is so strong. It's not really easy. So they are therefore the suitable vessel for the teaching suchness, only in the terms of the emptiness of this substantial subject duality, since they do not know how to present the causal relation between karma and its effect without embracing, without embracing the consciousness characterized in the above term. So they could not really, understand the law and cause and effect, how cause and effect functioning without the mind basis of embracing the consciousness characterized in the above term. They are referred to those who cannot understand the most profound truth. Yeah, okay, then any questions?
This is making me need to go back and review the mind only school and the foundational because I know you used the example of the bear and the rat. The rat got bit by the bear. So I need to review that because I know we talked about it, but yeah.
Mind only school, I think, from their own world, is everything is perfect. Mind is the only thing that truly exists. Other than that, nothing truly exists. The heat and cold, color, the sound, the smell, the taste, all, without the consciousness. You say this. So, the sense power, we can say the sense power, the the sense powers have no, no capable of experiencing the sound, the smell, taste, and tactilities, because the sense powers are, generated, are the sense powers is the part of the elements, is outcome of elements. And then the outcome of elements so have no ability to experience the sound or smell, taste, and tactilities, because only through that sense powers you can experience form, sound, smell, taste because of the consciousness. Again, when you think about the tactilities, the textures, regja. Yeah. So I think we in the textbook says that the 8 kind of textures: heat and cold, heavy and light, and the soft and rough. So those kind of tactilities are again proven to be existing with only consciousness. The heat is not experiencing the cold. Cold is not experiencing the heat. So what is experiencing? What is, those things that heat and cold that exist, only in the experience, in the consciousness experience. So the consciousness is the only thing that truly exists. The rest are just, objects are just rise from that consciousness. So the consciousness, again, I consciousness, those consciousness, these, sensory perceptions are, advantageously arises, but depending on those, the sense faculties. And these are not really sustainable, reliable consciousness. They just advantageously arises and dissolves. It's just a wave of one part of that ocean. So what is not moving at all, what is producing everything is, then this is, there is a mind-based all, the foundation consciousness. So the foundation consciousness is, then it says, what is the foundation consciousness? Is this active consciousness or dormant consciousness or inactive consciousness? And this is, yes, is the active consciousness, but it's have no particular object. No particular object means it has its own object. Whatever the eye sees, the mind-based all sees. Whatever the air consciousness hears, mind-based soul is also with that. Whatever the tongue consciousness, nose consciousness, the body consciousness, whatever your mental consciousness imagining, that object also appears to the mind-based soul. So our mind-based soul is not really not in one particular object. So it sees everything. It has no any favor or kind of, it has no engaging in any object. Sometimes like you feel like, like a person like, fainted and he had not died and he sees everything, but he could not really recognize, who is there. Sometimes it's like, feel like, the queen of the ants. So they're just lying in there and keep producing the baby. It's just
So then by the foundational consciousness, that logic, then a consciousness could not perceive something, and yet it would still be perceived by the foundational consciousness. So basically, if a bridge was broken, foundational consciousness would be like, oh no, I still got it.
Okay,
right.
So it just kind of produces everything there.
Right. Okay.
Whatever the consciousness arises, manifests, and they finally dissolve back again, like a wave lean back to the oceans, main oceans. I think, yeah, this having believing in that mind basis all, what comfort they're giving to those minority school. The comfort is, not terrifying of, like, if I is not exist at all in the five aggregates, then it is very terrifying. So not existing myself at all. But the mind base of all, so I can, find there is something that you can land on. There can something that you can stand on. I am here all the time. Right? So I think that's comfort, because this, which means they have still kind of clinging towards the I. For that reason, they find this ground. They kind of superimpose this kind of thing for their own comfort. So the Baba Vivek in text, he criticized on this minority school, saying that you have, refuted the non-Buddhist school Atmas, concept of Atma, and then you just create your own Atmas. So you mind-based, or you say non-Buddhist school, your Atma, independent eyes, not exist. It's not logically provable, and then you say, there's my mind basis. Oh, that's I am here.
It's about
Baba Vivek, yeah. So now the second is if the mind basis all is something that is the basis for, basis for the I to exist. So which means this is the I am. If this is I am, now the question is, what is the grasping of self that they're grasping on? What is the, what called objective base for the grasping of self? So the minority school says, yes, this is true, it's mind basis of all. Based on the mind, foundational consciousness, and then you think, you superimpose again, there's independent I, is the grasping I. So the grasping I is called the sixth consciousness, mental consciousness, and then the mind basis of all, and then the grasping itself. Grasping itself count as the eighth. The mind basis of all is the seventh, maybe. So the minority school says the seventh perceptions. Primary consciousness, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mental consciousness, and the foundational consciousness, and the grasping self. Then the question here is, the mind basis of all, or the foundational consciousness, is because it's a foundation, and there's a one meaning. Foundational consciousness is serve as a, containing all the seeds. Now the question is, when this person become enlightened, and all the seed is cleansed up, right? And then, in what sense you think there is a foundational consciousness? So then there's this, and then this become, this become what we call melodavation, the omniscient, the what do you call it, mirror-like omniscient. So then this has new name, mirror-like omniscience. So everything reflects, but it's clean, no seed. So in the sentient beings, during the sentient being, it is also like, it producing. Now, but in enlightened, the mind-based soul become the mirror-like omniscient. So it reflects everything. So there's nothing producing any consciousness. So I think that's, I think this is why you can say this is just philosophy. Philosophy, what's it? Philo is love. Sophie is love, right? Philo is wisdom. Wisdom out of love. so mind-based.
Yeah, philosophia is love of wisdom. And
love
then,
of wisdom, yeah.
And then that was Greek, and then it went to Latin, French, and then it turned into philosophy.
So they keep loving I, and then they curious. So when you become the Buddha, the mirror like omniscient, and ascension means foundation consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
All because you love yourself. So you want some kind of basis. Oh, okay. Oh, it's only 4 o'clock. So no questions?
Oh, many, but for another time.
Okay. Where did Larry go? Chanju semjo rinpoche maje bana jeji jeba nyamba meba kone tonye tawa rinpoche maje bana jeji jeba nyamba meba kone pama semjen tamjen tam denji yendro tamjen tato tu chanju semba kana suju tata kunju molom juju kare rabe ko bishi maso pendande wama juju jeresen wa tinzin jaso yeshabe sideba to tinji.
May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. May the precious mind, realizing emptiness, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all Father and Mother ascension beings have all the happiness, and may all the lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are Bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful Chandrakirti and Bodhisattva, remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you very much.